long night.
Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today I am going to do a review, a wear test, a first impression for the Morphe 2 Hint Hint Skin Tint. To be honest, I bought this because the influencers promoting this are the TikTok sisters. So I was like, oh, let's try that. And I heard a lot of good reviews with this foundation, so I was really excited to try this on, especially now that my skin is not on its best state. So I have oily skin and I have some acne on the side of my jaw, which is from wearing a mask, and I have acne that's still healing. So I have dark spots, hyperpigmentation, textured skin, you name it. But we are really putting this foundation to the test. First, let's read the claims. A sheer buildable hint of coverage that lets your skin shine through. This hydrating tinted fluid melts into your skin while providing buildable sheer to medium coverage in a wide range of shades. Unlike a traditional foundation, the naturally radiant finish smooths and blurs imperfection while still letting your skin shine through. You'll look fresh-faced with just a few drops, and the lightweight, breathable formula hydrates, smooths, and blurs, and it's non-comedogenic. So price. So this is 23 Canadian dollars, and I would say that this is on the affordable side when it comes to foundation. This is at 30 ml. With its formula and with its claim, I could compare it to the Selena Gomez foundation, which is $38, and the MAC Face and Body, which is also on a higher price range. So I think that this is really affordable in comparison to the foundations out there that has the same claims. So packaging, this actually comes in a glass bottle, and then it has a dropper, which I think is a good choice when it comes to this foundation because this is very liquidy. So I think that the dropper really helps in controlling how many drops you're gonna put on your face. When it comes to scent, this is actually scent-free. Kind of smells like the MAC Face and Body foundation. So the shade that I got is Hint of Toast, which is a medium with golden undertones. I think this is a perfect match now. The first time I put it on my face, I feel like I felt like this was half a shade darker than my natural skin tone, but when I did my concealer and I did my contour around my face, I think that this is a perfect shade for me. This foundation actually carries a good range of options with 20 shades to choose from. So before we try this on, I'm just gonna tell you the condition of my skin. My skin type is combination skin, so I have an oily T-zone and then dry on some parts. I also have freckles on top of my cheeks. Also, I have some acne on the side of my jaw because of the mask. Long story. And some of them are drying up, so I have some dark spots from some healing acne. So before putting the foundation, usually I don't put a primer, but today I feel like putting a primer on, and I'm going to put on the Huda Beauty Jelly Primer. I just want to put this to the test so I can test it with other foundations because I actually like this when I use this with the Huda foundation stick. So I want to know if this would also give that grip with this Morphe foundation. So they said to shake this first and then add 1 to 2 drops and then use a brush or a sponge. So on my right side, I'm gonna use a brush, and then on my left side, I'm gonna use a sponge. I think the back of my hand just absorbed the foundation. So it's either you put it on the brush or you put it directly on your face, I guess. This is 1 to 2 drops of foundation. Some people were saying that this is a dupe for the Glossier foundation because it just really evens out your skin tone, and I can get that. I can see that it can also be a dupe for the MAC Face and Body because it just evened out my skin tone, but it hasn't really covered the discoloration on my face, which I get because we are still on the sheer face. So I guess if you're starting with makeup and you just want a fresh face and you just want an even skin tone, you should stop here. But I'm not on that face. I have so much discoloration and I have so many things to hide. So I'm gonna put on a few more drops. So far I'm liking the shade. I didn't have time to color match, but I think this is a perfect match. I didn't count how many drops I put on, but I think we are now in a medium coverage. I love it because it still looks like my skin. So every time I add the foundation, it really covers up the things that needs to be covered. At the same time, it just looks like skin. So on this side, I'm gonna use a sponge. I'm gonna use my airbrush sponge, and this is still available on my store, alldolledupcosmetics.com. So let's start again with just 2. Okay, this gives a better coverage, I feel. But this is my airbrush sponge. So this has microfibers that acts kind of like a brush. And then the second layer is a sponge, so you can really just blend it well. I think that with the sponge, you can really press it on the parts where you want more coverage, like say my pimples over there. So I think the sponge is better. Although my airbrush sponge is actually really good in not absorbing the foundation. So on this side, I put less amount of drops compared to this side, but this side is actually looking like this side. So they're both like on the medium coverage, but this has lesser foundation. I feel like this is in between the MAC Face and Body and the Selena Gomez Rare Beauty foundation. I feel like the Selena Gomez is more opaque than this. This is also opaque. Not too much because you can still see a little bit of my freckles. But I love that this still looks like my skin. So this is my face after foundation. It's a little bit dark. I like when I'm a little bit tan than when I'm pale, so I like this color for me. I think that now we are at the full coverage stage, although I think that I really need to put concealer on my pimple on the side of my cheek. So my first impression, I am really blown away by this foundation. I didn't have a lot of expectation with this foundation. It's not that I don't trust the Morphe brand, but I feel like they just keep on launching stuff and sometimes it's repetitive and there's a lot of drama with their influencers. So I was like, okay, let's try it out. But now that I have tried it, the trust that I have with Morphe brand is back to this. I just hope that this is long wearing. Speaking of long wearing, we are going to put this to the test, but before that, I am going to finish my makeup and then I am going to take a photo on natural light with my phone and with my camera. And with my camera, I'm gonna test it with flash and without flash. So I just finished my makeup and it's all the more that I'm loving this foundation because it was such a good base for my makeup. So on my concealer, I actually put the NARS Creamy Radiant Concealer, and my foundation didn't move at all, and it just gave my concealer that good canvas. So it really actually helps in minimizing the look of my pores, like here. Just gave my concealer that good base, so when I put the concealer on, it just lays really well on top. And I also used the Selena Gomez liquid blush. I think it is in the shade Love, and I was really scared putting it on because that blush needs a lot of blending or else it's just gonna be super red on your face, and my foundation did not move at all. I also contoured with Fenty Beauty stick in, I think, Mocha, and blending that was also a dream with this foundation. I can't find any faults with this foundation, just maybe my pores are a little visible, and usually if I have a very light foundation, sheer foundation, I just use a pore minimizing primer just to hide those, so that's not a biggie. But so far I am just so impressed with this foundation. I feel like this is the best thing that I bought with my $23. Hold on, I just pulled out my receipt just to make sure that this is $23. Honestly, $23? And on photos, it looks great on my phone camera. It also looks great on my actual camera, and with flash photography, it didn't have any flashback. So the last step on this review is its wearability test. So I'm going to update you on the 4th hour and on the 8th hour. On the 4th hour, I can see a little oil coming through, especially on my T-zone, but everything else was looking fine. I'm back and it's now 6:30 p.m. so it has been 8 hours. Don't mind the left side, I was taking care of my daughter, so I had to retouch this. I was rubbing my face and she was thumb sucking and then rubbing again, so that was a mess, so I have to retouch this. So let's just concentrate on my right side. My oil is seeping through, especially on the side of my nose, but the foundation is still there. Maybe thinner than before, but it's there. Like, I don't see any build-up. I don't see any of it like breaking up, and I don't see it breaking up because sometimes when you have foundation that is very moisturizing, it separates, like the Rare Beauty foundation. But this one didn't separate. It didn't even settle on my pores. It just lays really nicely on my skin. I don't see any foundation on the side of my nose, but I can live with that. What else? That's it. Just oil and maybe thinning out a little bit. So let's do a blot paper test. So that's all my oil. But honestly, look, my foundation looks fresh again after blotting it. Let's do it on my forehead. In the middle of my nose. Okay, now I'm really impressed because after blotting my face with a blotting paper, my foundation looks fresh again. I can't say that it has the same coverage as the first time I put it on. Nothing was creasing, nothing was breaking up. Like sometimes with a very emollient foundation, something very hydrating, those foundations tend to break, like the oil and the pigment sometimes break up. Honestly, I can't see any faults with this foundation. At $23 on the 8 hour, it's still performing well. Maybe even better than the high-end foundations out there. So let me tell you my final thoughts, my pros and cons. Let's start with the pros. First, this foundation is extremely buildable. You can start from sheer to medium to full coverage without it being too heavy or cakey on your face. That's the thing that I liked about it the most. My second pro is that the finish is absolutely gorgeous. As I've told you before, it looks like skin, but a moisturized, healthy skin. And you've seen the glow on my face, and even at the 8 hour now, I am still appreciating what it looks like on my face. And since it's hydrating, it did not cling to the dry parts of my face, especially my pimple that is drying out. You know those crusty things that forms when your pimple is healing? It did not cling onto that. And third is it's such a beautiful base. I put on a cream blush, I put on a cream contour, and even though I blended it really well while applying it, the foundation just stays there and it didn't move while I was buffing. For my powder contour, even for my concealer, I actually didn't appreciate that NARS Creamy Concealer that much when I was using it with other foundations. But when I used this concealer with this Morphe foundation, I really appreciated it because it really laid nicely on my under eye, and my under eye looks like it was very smooth. So my last pro is that it's very affordable at 23 Canadian dollars. Honestly, if you go to the drugstore now and you look at the foundation aisle, most of the foundations are actually ranging at the $20 mark. So for something at $23 that is performing as well as high-end foundations, I think this is a steal. Now let's go with the cons. Honestly, I don't have a con with this foundation because it delivers what it claims and more. This is the kind of foundation that, yes, if you use a pore minimizing primer before you put this on, it'll be better. If you have a good setting powder, this would look better. But if you don't have all of those, then you're still gonna be fine. So needless to say, I'm very, very impressed with this foundation. So I'm giving this a rating of 5 out of 5 stars. I remember the last time I gave a 5 out of 5 star to a foundation is when I tried the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Foundation, but that's way more expensive than this foundation. If you're a beginner with makeup and you just want to even out the skin tone on your face, this will be good for you. Or if you are someone like me who has a bad skin day, if you have texture on your face, if you have acne, if you have some dry spots, and you want to look like you have a healthy skin without looking cakey or without it looking heavy or without it looking like you have a ton of makeup on, this is also perfect for you. And I also think that this would be a perfect everyday foundation because it's very lightweight. I know a lot of us are not going out, but if you have a Zoom meeting, if you have an Instagram live, or things like that, if you want to look presentable, this is a good foundation. On my next review, I'll be reviewing this DIOR Backstage Face and Body Foundation. So make sure you like this video to let me know that these reviews are helping you so I could make more. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so you'll always be updated once a new video is out. Meanwhile, you can check my playlist of my past foundation reviews where I review both drugstore and high-end foundations. Thank you so much guys for watching and I'll see you on my next one. Bye! Keep safe everyone!